Hello everybody, I hope everyone is doing okay. It's another day to study English, right? And verb tenses such as can, could, be able to, as we have studied in the last videos. But this lesson is another lesson, another topic, but we have to finish some details first about the verb could, right? So let's get going, shall we? Okay. I'm opening my notebook so that we can... Everything is improvised here. I have already told you about it. Okay. Well, remember, last video, unless you haven't watched, maybe you haven't watched the last video, there is a slight possibility. I just hope you watch all videos, but there is no order, right? There is no sequential logic to it. You just access the videos that you want to and in which you have doubts or maybe some problems to understand. Okay, so let's see. Remember that we saw could and managed to do something. They both can be used to the same situations, but there is a slight difference, and it's a huge one, not a slight difference. There is a difference between these verb tenses that I want to emphasize. For example, if I say, she could ride a motorcycle. Okay, she could ride a motorcycle. For example, I had a grandma or my mom when she was younger, she could ride a motorcycle. But as time passed, this relative of mine no longer practiced, right, riding motorcycles, and she doesn't ride anymore. But she could ride a motorcycle back then when she was younger. She was younger. So, reading this sentence, what you can imply? That could expresses an ability, something that this person was able to do in the past, right? It's a situation in the past, and you have to pay attention to it. There is a mosquito flying somewhere. Oh, shit. Yes, everything is doing okay, but I hate mosquitoes. Okay, so she could ride a motorcycle when she was younger. It's an ability, right? But we can't use manage to do something because it's different. While could is used when we want to express abilities in the past or something that this person was able to do, managed to do has to do with a specific situation. How the person manages a specific situation, right? For example, there was a traffic jam. There was a traffic jam, but he managed to get to work in time. So I want to express a specific situation in the past in which this person was driving to work, okay? This guy was driving to work and there was a traffic jam, right? When you have a traffic jam, it becomes increasingly difficult to get to work, right? If you have an appointment, if you have a meeting, and you are somewhat late to get there, or maybe you are not even late, but traffic jam generally brings trouble to you, right? So you don't get to the place you want at the time you have planned. But despite the traffic jam, he managed to get there in time, okay? So it's an ability. Yes, it's an ability, but how he dealt with a specific situation, right? He dealt with a specific situation, right? So this managed to requires context, but could, on the other hand, expresses an ability that a person has in the past, right? And it doesn't require a specific situation, all right? Okay, I hope you understood that. When you use the negative tense of the verb could, you can use could not or couldn't, right? I can use could or couldn't to both situations, either to express an ability in the past and to express that how you deal with a specific situation. Right? So let's see how it happens, how we use this expression. When you say, I couldn't, let me see what expression. I couldn't get there in time. Okay? While this, in another situation we have mentioned, he managed to get there to work in time. I couldn't get to work in time. I wasn't able to get there in time, okay? It's another way to say that. So this is a specific situation, right? I lost my phone and looked for it, but I couldn't find it. So imagine a situation that you lose your phone, right? You look for your phone and for some reason you didn't find it. You couldn't find it. In this situation, it's the simple past. You can't, I guess it's not proper to say managed not to find it. In this situation, the best expression and the correct one is couldn't. I couldn't find it. It doesn't express an ability in the past, right? It says that you couldn't or you weren't able to deal with this specific situation the way you have envisioned it. So you lost your phone, right? Looked for it for some time, but I couldn't find it. But it can also be used to express abilities in the past. For example, when I was 12 years old, I couldn't speak English. I was still learning English, right? As a matter of fact, the first time I had contact with English was in 1993, right? When I when I entered high school. It was my first year at high school, and I had a teacher, an English teacher back then. So it was my first contact with the language. But even 2 years later, or 1 year later, right, 1994, I was 12 years old, but even so, I couldn't speak English. 1 year wasn't enough for me to learn English, because I didn't um, I didn't apply to a specific English course, right? I couldn't. My parents couldn't pay a specific English course back then. Later, I was able to join an English course to study specifically English, because English in high school is different than English in an English course, right? In which the focus of the English course is communication, is speaking, is writing, right? All the skills. While in high school, in general, the focus was on the written language, right? And vocabulary. Okay, so I guess that summarizes this part. I have intended to see more topics, but I guess that makes it. We have already covered everything about put, right? And next lesson we can start another very nice topic, right? Bye bye.